All right, and we're back for another exciting week of Chuck's Untitled Goosebumps podcast featuring Dr. Groosome. How's the weather over there in was it Bulgaria?
Um, well, it's not snowing, it's not raining, it's not hot, but I am wearing a hat, boots, shorts, and a tank top.
Oh, yeah, is that underneath the apron that you always have to wear for the wacky experiments you do over there?
Well, I can't get my shorts all bloody.
Yeah. Which is, I believe your country was Romania. I think I pronounced it wrong. Or maybe you travel. Are you a bit of a traveler out there?
I don't know where I'm from, Chuck.
Yeah, yeah. Same here. Same here. But this is the second episode of our Untitled Goosebumps podcast. The first one garnishing rave reviews. As I think a Goosebumps podcast is pretty rare. I think there's only two Goosebumps podcasts out there. We're one, and the other is a man who sits there and he reads Goosebumps books and makes snide comments, but it's not for the children like our podcast is. It's not clean, Dr. Groosome. We're for the kids here.
This correct, Chuck.
Yes, yes. So I can't tell my 12-inch pianist joke here, I don't think.
You know a 12-inch pianist? That's a short guy.
Yes, have you ever heard the joke? I'm gonna tell you
No,
the joke. You ready for the joke? It's a Simpsons
I'm,
joke.
I'm,
It's a Simpsons
I'm
joke.
ready.
So this man walks into a bar and he's real sad. He's carrying a sack behind him. So he pulls up a bar stool. He sits there. He says, "I just want 3 shots." So the bartender gives him 3 shots, and he knows something's bad. So he's like, "Buddy, what's wrong? What is it?" Because nobody goes to the bar and wants 3 shots unless something really bad's going on. So he reaches in his bag and he pulls out a 12-inch man and a little bitty piano. And the guy starts playing a song. It's wonderful music. That guy's like, "Wow, where did you get that? What's going on here?" He goes, "I got a magic lamp, and a genie is inside the magic lamp." He goes, "Well, man, can I make a wish?" He goes, "Sure, sure." So he pulls out the lamp. He gives it to the bartender. The bartender rubs it. The genie pops out. He goes, "Your wish is my command." Blah blah blah. That whole thing. He goes, "What can I do for you?" And the bartender goes, "Well, I want $1,000,000." Poof. There it is. Next thing you know, there's a million ducks running all around the bar, popping up out of thin air, ducks everywhere. So he looked at the man. He goes, "What's going on here?" He goes, "I asked for bucks, not ducks." He goes, "Do you really think I asked for a 12-inch pianist?" Aha! Right here,
Aha, Chuck.
right here on the Goosebumps podcast. Can you get away with jokes like that? Now, kids, remember, get parents' permission before you tell the 12-inch pianist jokes. Yeah, not that
Uh,
anyone's probably listening anyway, but we should also mention at this point that we are not sponsored by Scholastic, although they did send us 2 books, and we are reviewing the second one tonight, which is going to be A Nightmare on Clown Street. Have you ever been to Clown Street, Dr. Cruz?
I try to avoid it when possible. Not too big with the clowns.
You think that's anywhere near that place called Elm Street?
Nah, I've heard of Elm Street. It's in Chicago, correct?
No, I think every town has one, but you're probably correct. Is it anywhere near where the red light district might be located?
That's Amsterdam.
Remember, kids, we like lights. That's why we talk about the red light specials around here on Chuck's Untitled Goosebumps podcast featuring Dr. Groosome. But before we get to this book, we want to bring up our Darien meter, Dr. Groosome. Our Darien
The
meter.
Darien meter.
We don't have a drum roll, which is quite funny because we still don't have any books.
How many days now, Chuck?
According to our calculations here, which are never wrong here on Chuck's Untitled Goosebumps podcast featuring Dr. Groosome, it has been 22 days since we were promised a box of Goosebumps books. The future of this podcast may just be on the line because we don't have any other books, Dr. Groosome.
Well, that's unfortunate, Chuck, because I'm hearing that the podcast is doing very well. It would be a shame not to be able to continue.
It would be a shame for a couple of grown men not to sit here every week and talk about a book that's at a 7th grade reading level. But hey, who knows? Maybe a lot can happen in a week. Maybe next week we have another book, or maybe next week she brings the books. Of course, then we have the countdown of when Dr. Gruesome will deliver the books, becomes the next countdown clock. Or we may have to, like, watch Goosebumps on TV or something. I don't know.
Well, I heard they're making a movie.
Yes, yeah. See, that was what we promised last week. We said we were going to watch the trailer and give our insight to it on Zombies. Zombie on podcast. What am I talking about? On Chuck's Untitled Goosebumps podcast feature Dr. Gruesome. Let's get that straight. I didn't watch the trailer, Dr. Gruesome, because somewhere between last week and this week, I remembered that I don't like Jack Black, and I knew I was going to turn on that trailer and I was going to see
That's
this.
very.
Yes, this chubby man was going to be on the screen looking at me with them little white man eyes, overacting, kind of like Jim Carrey used to overact, just 10 times worse because he's annoying. He makes them little funny facial expressions. I don't like Jack Black. I don't like Tenacious D. I don't like none of that stuff.
I did watch the trailer, Chuck.
Well, give us your insight, Dr. Gruesome. What can we expect with this Goosebumps movie?
I found out I don't like Jack Black either.
Don't take long to figure that out, does it?
In the trailer, apparently, it's about the Goosebumps books that we've been reading for many years now. Jack Black is actually the author of these books.
R.L. Stein.
And this boy comes over, peeking in the window, probably for nefarious activities. I'm not sure. But he manages to get inside, open the books, and the books are somehow magical or cursed. And from the trailer, the books come to life. The abominable snowman jumps out of a book.
Boom.
That's pretty much what I get.
So then all the characters from all 70-something of the original Goosebumps books are on the loose, right?
It seems like they're ripping off a different movie where the books come to life called Inkheart, which was a good movie.
Is that doggone dummy from Night of the Living Dummy or whatever that is? Is he in there? I'm sure he's probably the ringleader of the group, right?
Maybe so.
The
trailer doesn't give it away.
So somebody told me that it reminded him a lot of the Monster Squad. Do you remember the Monster Squad?
Yeah, I could get that.
Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe we'll watch it when it comes out. Maybe you can get on a plane from, wherever that is you're from. I forget the name of it. And we can check this out. It'll be the first movie I've seen in theater since that awful experience we had with some girl back in the day. Last exorcism experience.
Oh. Yes, I remember now.
Many moons. Remember, kids, don't blow money on women if it's not a sure thing. Remember, kids. Uncle Chucko knows what you're doing. But we should probably move on to talking about our book for the week here on Chuck's Untitled Goosebumps podcast featuring Dr. Groosome. And we have A Nightmare on Clown Street, Goosebumps Most Wanted number 7, and this is already out. I think it was released on the 13th or somewhere around that area. It was released in July, and we are in July, and it is out as we speak. So after I explain this to you a little bit here, Dr. Groosome, you might want to run to your local bookstore online, clickety-click, and order you a copy of this wonderful child book that's also equally as entertaining for 32-year-old men. But we have a character here named Ray Gordon, and I'm going to read you the synopsis for this book, and I'm going to try to read it in the best grown-up reading level way that I possibly can. Ray Gordon really likes the circus. His uncle Theo is a performer in Coco's Clown Academy, and he invites Ray to come join him for the summer. At first, Ray's parents are reluctant. They know their son had a bad habit of getting himself into strange situations, but Ray manages to convince them that he'll be on his best behavior. The circus itself is very cool. The clowns stay in their makeup all day only to go by their clown names, Ray becomes a clown in training named Mr. Belly Bounce. Yes, folks, Mr. Belly Bounce. But the longer he's there, the scarier things become. There are whispering about a place called Clown Street, and nobody, including Murder the Clown, wants to go there. Will Ray be able to survive the dark secrets of the circus? You won't know unless you read this 148-page, 39-chapter, but no individual part book called A Nightmare on Clown Street. Dr. Groosome, I read this book in 2 hours.
2 hours.
2 hours. That was 2 hours of my life that I decided to devote to this podcast. And I read it in one sitting. But that goes to show you it's so interesting, Dr. Gruesome, that I wanted to finish it. The first time I started, I wanted to finish it. And I also want to point. What was that, sir?
You enjoyed the book.
I did enjoy the book. I enjoyed the book. I don't know why. It's like Christmas time or something. I think it's where I have to watch so many movies that I actually enjoy doing something different, like reading a book, even if it is on a 4th to 6th grade. Division here was the reading, which appeals to 4th to 6th graders. It says reading level grade 4. So the words aren't that hard here, Dr. Groosome.
Well, I'm still a little trouble with words on page. Do they have the book on tape?
I think some Goosebumps are available on audiobook. For you fine folks out there that don't like to read, or maybe you can't read. Maybe you're from around my area and you can't read. Where your Walmart don't have books. But nonetheless, this book, Dr. Groosome, starts off with a bit of a Tales from the Crypt-like introduction, as R.L. Stine tells us that he's sitting in his office. A zombie has just come on to talk to him, and they're sitting there and they're chatting around. And he tells us about this book and about Murder the Clown. This book keeps pushing Murder the Clown like he's the main character in the book. Murder the Clown is actually Ray's uncle, and he's not a bad guy. So I don't understand why Murder the Clown is like presented as the evil guy in this book when he's not. But nonetheless, we have a 12-year-old boy named Ray Gordon. People call him Ray Gun because he's hyper and he's always getting into trouble. And to be completely honest with you, Dr. Groosome, he's a jerk. You remember how last week our character was a 12-year-old boy and he was all scared of everything, but he was a swell guy. This kid, not so much.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So early on, him and his best friend, which is a girl named Heather, if you can believe that, get in trouble for sneaking to the local circus. So he gets his poor little friend here named Heather to go to the circus. They're sneaking in. They ain't got no money. They try to go in. It leads to a little bit of trouble there. But the funny thing is I want to talk about his best friend Heather here for a second. His best friend Heather, who he goes into great detail to explain what she looks like. Their parents are best friends. He's known her all these years. That's chapter 1, telling you all this good stuff about her. After the circus is over, we never see her again. After like the first couple chapters, she's gone. Heather's gone.
Did she meet Murder the Clown?
No, she just vanished in the thin air. She's no longer relevant to our story, apparently. That's his best friend, by the way. Never seen again. So they try to sneak in there. They run into a clown. He's guarding the tent, of course, and he tells about Clown Street. So Clown Street is brought up early on. More on Clown Street later. He gets home. His parents are mad at him. The next day, he gets a letter from his uncle, Murder the Clown. Now, here's Murder the Clown. And he wants him to come spend his summer with him at the circus, where he will be a clown in training. Now, I don't know about you, Dr. Groosome, but being a clown for the summer don't sound like something I'd want to do.
Being a carny of any sort, it could be fun, but doesn't sound appealing.
Not appealing to a mad scientist of your standard, right?
Well, I mean, it would be a good way to find people of sorts to do experiments on.
Oh, yes. Ooh. You could write your own Goosebumps book on that. But nonetheless. So he gets there. His uncle Murdered a Clown picks him up at the bus station, and you realize that nobody that's a part of the circus is allowed to be out of character in public. They all have to go by their clown names. They all have to joke, so he does a lot of joking with some kids and everything, and he runs around with an axe in his head, a fake axe, which is pretty gruesome for a Goosebumps book if you think about it, Dr. Groosome. But nonetheless, Murdered a Clown, ladies and gentlemen. He gets there, and the big boss clown is Mr. Ha-Ha Face. And everybody's scared of Mr. Ha-Ha Face. Not only is everybody scared of Mr. Ha-Ha Face, but apparently there's some real big mystique going on at the dunk tank. And when a clown gets dunked in the dunk tank, you never see the clown again. So there's a mystery what's going on. So everybody's scared of Mr. Ha-Ha Face. They don't want to go to the dunk tank. Our little boy Ray here, Mr. Big Belly Bounce, or whatever his name is, he meets a girl named Diana Banana. So they get a little fling thing starting to be hinted at there. But of course, there's a twist about her that I ain't gonna spoil for everybody. So I guess his best friend Heather had to disappear because he was gonna run into another clown girl at the circus.
New love affair.
Clown makeup must just do something for some people. I don't know. I'm not 12 anymore. But, maybe you want to have that when you hold hands and walk around the playground. I don't know. So, as we were saying, when the Cloud does something bad, they go to the dunk tank. They're never seen again. And this happens more than once. On top of that, Ray is ending up in a situation where somebody is trying to either kill him or run him away from the circus because he gets a knife thrown at him as soon as he gets there. His clown shoes gets tore up. It's chaos, and he keeps hearing over and over about Clown Street. So it all comes to a head, Dr. Groosome. There's twists, there's turns, and I don't want to spoil anything, but there were so many turns and twists to it that I had to finish it when I started reading it. And there's a bunch of cheesy jokes too. Of course, when you have a book where every character is a clown, you can expect that. So, it's interesting.
Does he ever make it to Clown Street?
Well, I can't tell you that, Mr. Groosome. You have to read the book to find out.
Oh, it's a cliffhanger.
Yes,
I've got to read.
So he goes to the camp. He becomes Mr. Belly Bounce. There's other clowns there like Bingo Bongo, Biggie the Clown. No idea if he can rap or not, but his name's Biggie.
Yes.
Probably not much effort to the names, or maybe there is, because if you got a book full of clowns, maybe it's hard to come up with a bunch of clown names. But here's an interesting twist on this one, Dr. Groosome. There is a possibility that there's a body count of 2 in this book. Do you know of any Goosebumps book with a body count, Dr. Groosome?
No.
Yeah, so it's got some twists and turns, and we do find out, what's Clown Street and where its importance comes from, and when you get to Clown Street, I ain't gonna spoil it, Dr. Groosome. They could have went for maybe something a little more simple, but it gets pretty elaborate when we get to Clown Street, and that takes us to the last part of the book. And I think it's a page turner, man. I finished it in 2 hours. I didn't put it down and put my trusty Hulk Hogan bookmarker from 1986 in there. I just kept on reading it. But we got a little trivia for this book, Dr. Groosome. Ray, our character Ray, has the very same name as the main character from Slappy New Year. Is it the same kid? Who knows? We don't have the book. Maybe the book's in that box we ain't got.
Maybe this book's in that box we don't have. And right. If it got here, maybe I could read it.
Maybe so. And Uncle Theo's version of Murder the Clown apparently will appear in the Goosebumps movie that is coming out, along with countless other villains and monsters assembled by Slappy. So Slappy is the bad guy in Goosebumps. That's odd that Murder the Clown is one of the bad characters in the movie, since Murder the Clown isn't the bad character in the book. He's not bad. He's someone's uncle, ladies and gentlemen. But because his name's Murder the Clown, which R.L. Stein is all about calling the man Murder the Clown. He thinks that's like great. And the clown's like, oh, we're killing him. We're killing him, Ray. It's murder. It's murder. Murder the Clown. So that brings us to the end of week 2, Dr. Groosome. This book is available on Amazon, all fine retailers. And once again, I want to do this to let people know this ain't no PDF shindig up in this mohoper. This is legit reading by grown men. And I wish you could read this book, Dr. Groosome.
I'm very sure that reading that book would be a lot better than reading the 50 Shades or the sparkly vampire books.
That's true. That's very true. So we may not have a third episode for a while, but at least if we come back, we won't sell ourselves short by reading such nonsense on this show.
Exactly.
But who knows? We hope to be back next time around, and hopefully we will be. And if we don't, it may be because we didn't get those books, or maybe because I'm currently in the process of attempting to relocate again, Dr. Groosome. So if we're not here, we will be back one way or another. If I have to find a way to actually, spend money on something, maybe we can get another book going on. So this podcast, we won't let it just flutter off into the interwebs, the great nowhere, and never be heard from again. But I will say this: if you want to hear this podcast, go to zombiesdon'trun.net and just click whatever you have to click to subscribe to us on iTunes. It's on the Horrorphilia network of podcasts now, so we're different places. I even upload the episodes to YouTube, which takes a long time, so I don't know if I'll do that again this week, or maybe I will. Nonetheless, Dr. Groosome, we're at the end of our episode, so unless Scholastic takes mercy upon our souls, or we actually get those books delivered to us, our next
The
week
magic
is
box of books.
yes, the magic box of books. Next week is up in the air for the time being, but I'm sure we'll figure out something. Would you like to leave them again with some more words of wisdom as we head out the door for this week?
Don't do drugs.
Yes. Yes. Truer words have never been spoken, kids. And remember, don't take that girl to the movies. Buy them tickets. Buy that bag of popcorn. Buy those Skittles. Add that extra butter and salt. Unless you're absolutely sure it's a sure deal. This has been Chuck's Untitled Goosebumps podcast, featuring Dr. Groosome, episode number 2, Nightmare on Clown Street. Not in any way associated with Scholastic, although they did send me the books. And we'll see you next week. So long.